let me tell you something about men. A man does not fall in love just because you're beautiful. He does not fall in love just because you're sweet. And he sure does not fall in love just because you caught feelings first. Let me explain something about respect, because this right here is where everything starts. A man does not fall in love with a woman simply because she is beautiful, educated, funny, or kind. Those things may attract him. They may hold his attention, but they do not anchor his heart. What anchors a man's heart is respect. And a lot of people misunderstand what that really means. Respect to a man is not about bowing down to him. It is not about lowering yourself. It is not about silence or submission. Respect to a man is about how you speak to him, how you see him, and how you respond to him when things are not perfect. A man measures love through respect. If he feels disrespected, he will feel unloved, even if you tell him, "I love you," every single day. You see, a man's ego is not just pride. It is connected to his identity. From a young age, he is taught that he must achieve, provide, protect, and prove himself. The world challenges him daily. So when he comes to a woman, he is not just looking for attraction. He is looking for a safe place where his efforts are acknowledged, where his ideas are heard, and where his position as a man is valued. When a woman corrects him publicly, mocks his dreams, compares him to another man, or constantly points out what he lacks, something shuts down inside of him. He may not argue, he may not even explain it, but emotionally, he takes a step back, because disrespect, even in small doses, chips away at his ability to feel deeply connected. But when a woman listens to him, supports his goals, speaks highly of him in front of others, and handles disagreements privately with maturity, something powerful happens. He begins to trust her with his vulnerability. And let me tell you something, a man does not open up easily. When he does, that is a sign he feels safe. Respect also means believing in him before he fully becomes what he is trying to be. When you say, "I see your potential," and you genuinely mean it, you ignite something inside him. When you appreciate the effort, not just the outcome, you make him feel valued. That value turns into attachment. A respected man will move mountains for you. He will protect you differently. He will commit differently. He will love differently. Not because he is forced, but because he wants to, because respect fuels his desire to give more. When he feels respected, he does not feel controlled. He does not feel small. He does not feel judged. He feels empowered. And when a man feels empowered by a woman, instead of diminished by her, that is when his heart starts leaning in. That is when admiration grows. That is when loyalty deepens. That is when love begins to form quietly, steadily, and seriously. Because for a man, love is not just about emotion. It is about how he feels about himself when he is with you. And if being with you makes him feel respected, capable, and valued, his heart will not just visit, it will stay. Let's talk about loyalty and consistency, because this is where a man decides whether his feelings are temporary or permanent. Attraction can happen in a moment. Chemistry can happen in a conversation. but love. Love happens over time. And what makes a man fall deeply is not intensity. It is consistency. A man watches patterns. He watches how you react when you're upset. He watches how you behave when he's not around. He watches whether your words match your actions. You may think he's not paying attention, but he is studying stability. Because a man does not give his heart to uncertainty. He gives it where he feels secure. Loyalty to a man is not just about physical faithfulness. It is emotional alignment. It is knowing that even when he is not present, you represent him with dignity. It is knowing you do not entertain unnecessary attention. It is knowing you defend him in rooms he is not in. When a man feels that kind of loyalty, something shifts inside him. His guard lowers. His protective instinct increases. He begins to invest emotionally because he feels safe investing. But loyalty without consistency is confusing. If one day you are warm and affectionate, and the next day distant and cold without explanation, he starts questioning stability. If one week you speak about the future, and the next week you act unsure about him, his emotional security weakens. A man may tolerate inconsistency for a while if he is attracted, but he will not fall deeply in love with instability. Consistency tells a man this is real. Consistency is how you communicate regularly, not only when you need something. It is how you handle disagreements without threatening to leave every time. It is how your respect does not disappear just because you are angry. It is how your care does not depend on your mood. Men fall in love with peace of mind. When he knows that your affection is steady, your loyalty is solid, and your presence is dependable, he relaxes emotionally. And a relaxed man is an open man. You see, many men fear betrayal more than heartbreak. Betrayal attacks his trust. It makes him feel foolish. It makes him question his judgment. So when he meets a woman whose behavior is predictable in a healthy way, who does not play mind games, who does not flirt for validation, who does not create jealousy for attention, he values that deeply. Loyalty also means choosing him intentionally, not because he is convenient, not because he is available, but because you genuinely prefer him. When a man feels chosen consistently, not compared or kept as an option, his attachment strengthens. And over time, something powerful happens. He stops questioning where he stands. He stops wondering if you will switch up. He stops guarding himself emotionally. That is when love grows roots, because loyalty builds trust and consistency maintains it. And when trust is solid, a man does not just feel affection, he feels commitment forming naturally. He begins to see you as permanent, not temporary. He begins to invest deeper, not cautiously. He begins to imagine a future, not just enjoy the present. That is how a man falls, not in chaos, not in confusion, but in steady, proven loyalty and consistent emotional security. Let's talk about something people don't always understand about men. A man falls in love when he feels needed, not used, not drained. Needed, there is a big difference. A man does not want to feel like an accessory in your life. He does not want to feel like you can take him or leave him and nothing changes. He wants to feel like his presence matters, like his strength makes a difference, like when he shows up, something improves. From the time he is young, a man is wired to solve problems, to fix things, to protect, to provide. That instinct does not disappear in relationships. It becomes stronger. But if he feels like you do not value what he brings, he slowly disconnects. Now understand this clearly. Feeling needed does not mean you cannot be independent. It does not mean you cannot be strong, successful, or capable. A confident man admires strength, but even the strongest woman can allow a man space to contribute. When you ask for his opinion and genuinely consider it, he feels respected. When you trust his judgment in certain situations, he feels capable. When you appreciate his help instead of saying, "I could have done it myself," he feels valued. Men fall in love where they feel impactful. If he feels like he is just filling empty space, he will treat the relationship casually. But if he feels like he plays a meaningful role in your life, his attachment deepens. Think about it. When he fixes something for you, handles a difficult situation, gives advice that helps you, or protects you in some way, and you respond with gratitude and pride in him, something lights up inside him. That light is purpose. Purpose is powerful. A man can endure stress, pressure, and responsibility if he believes it matters to someone who values him. But if he feels replaceable, unnecessary, or constantly reminded that he is not essential, he begins to emotionally withdraw. There is also something deeper. When a woman allows a man to be there for her in moments of vulnerability, he feels trusted, and trust creates closeness. If you never open up, never lean on him, never allow him to support you emotionally, he may feel like he is standing outside your world instead of inside it. A man falls in love when he feels like your safe place and your strength at the same time. When you call him because you believe he can handle something. When you share your fears because you trust his reassurance. When you let him carry something heavy, whether it is a burden or a responsibility. He does not want to control your life. He wants to add to it. And when he sees that his presence brings you comfort, security, and happiness, he becomes protective of that connection. He invests more. He commits more. He loves more intentionally. Because now it is not just about attraction, it is about meaning. When a man feels needed in a healthy way, not for money, not for status, not for convenience, but for who he is and what he brings, his heart locks in. He feels significant. He feels chosen. He feels purposeful. And when a man feels purposeful in your life, that is when love begins to grow deep and steady inside him. Let's talk about peace, because this right here changes everything. A man falls in love when he finds peace with you. Not excitement, not just passion, not constant thrill. Peace. The world already challenges him every single day. There is pressure to succeed, pressure to earn, pressure to compete, pressure to prove himself. He deals with expectations from family, from society, from his own ambitions. So when he chooses a woman, he is not looking for another battlefield. He is looking for refuge. If every conversation turns into an argument, if every disagreement becomes a dramatic explosion, if every small issue becomes a test of loyalty, he may stay physically present, but emotionally he starts pulling back because a man protects his mental space fiercely. Chaos drains him. Constant tension makes him guarded. Peace does not mean there will never be problems. It means problems are handled with maturity. It means you can disagree without disrespect. It means you can express hurt without attacking his character. When a man knows that conflicts will not automatically turn into humiliation or threats of leaving, he relaxes. And when a man relaxes, he connects. Peace is in your tone, the way you speak to him when you are upset, the way you bring up concerns privately instead of publicly embarrassing him, the way you choose calm communication instead of sharp words designed to wound. A man may forget what you argued about, but he will never forget how you made him feel during that argument. If he feels constantly judged, criticized, or emotionally unsafe, he builds walls. But if he feels understood, heard, and approached with kindness even during tough moments, he lowers those walls. Peace is also emotional stability. If your mood changes drastically without explanation, if love is given one day and withdrawn the next as punishment, he begins to walk on eggshells. No man falls deeply in love where he feels he must constantly calculate his next move. He falls in love where he feels steady ground, when he knows that coming home to you means comfort instead of conflict, support instead of stress, warmth instead of warfare. His attachment grows naturally. He starts associating you with relief, with safety, with restoration, and that association is powerful. Men are not always expressive about this. They may not say, "You bring me peace," but you will see it in their behavior. He stays longer. He opens up more. He shares deeper thoughts. He laughs more freely. He rests fully in your presence. Peace allows vulnerability. When a man feels emotionally safe, he reveals parts of himself he hides from the world. His fears, his insecurities, his doubts. He only does that where he feels protected, not attacked. Peace is not boring. Peace is stable affection. It is calm strength. It is knowing that even during storms, the relationship is not shaking uncontrollably. When you become the place where he can breathe, where he does not have to defend himself constantly, where he feels respected even in disagreement, love grows quietly but powerfully. Because a man may be attracted to excitement, but he commits to peace. And when he finds a woman who feels like home instead of conflict, like comfort instead of chaos, his heart settles there in a way that is deep, intentional, and lasting. Expend 5 key, not 699 words without subheading and conclusion. Let's talk about appreciation, because this is the key that unlocks a man's emotional vulnerability. A lot of people think men do not need reassurance. They think men are naturally confident, naturally strong, naturally secure. But what they do not understand is that most men are silently carrying pressure. Pressure to succeed, pressure to provide, pressure to never look weak. And because of that pressure, appreciation means more to a man than most people realize. A man can love you, care about you, invest in you, and still slowly close his heart if he feels unappreciated. Appreciation is not just saying thank you. It is noticing effort. It is acknowledging intention. It is recognizing the small things he does that he does not announce. When he drives across town to see you after a long day. When he fixes something without being asked twice. When he checks on you to make sure you got home safe. When he works hard even when he is tired. If those things go unnoticed, he starts feeling invisible. And when a man feels invisible, he stops trying as hard, not because he does not care, but because effort without acknowledgement feels empty. You see, men are action-oriented. They express love through doing, through providing solutions, through protecting, through showing up. So when you appreciate his actions, you are speaking his emotional language. When you say, "I see how hard you're trying," that touches him deeply. When you say, "I'm proud of you," that strengthens him. When you say, "I feel safe with you," that empowers him. Appreciation builds confidence within the relationship. And when a man feels confident with you, he becomes more emotionally open. He begins to share his thoughts, his plans, even his fears. He starts trusting you with parts of himself he does not reveal easily. Many men are taught to hide vulnerability. They are told to be strong, to not complain, to not cry. So when he finds a woman who not only appreciates his strength, but also values his softness, something shifts inside him. He starts believing that he does not have to perform constantly to be worthy. Appreciation also prevents resentment. If a man feels like everything he does is expected instead of valued, he slowly builds frustration. If he feels criticized more than praised, he questions whether he is enough. But when appreciation outweighs criticism, love grows safely. This does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means balancing correction with encouragement. It means understanding that growth happens better in an environment where effort is acknowledged. When you highlight what he does right instead of only focusing on what he lacks, you inspire him to become better willingly. And here is something powerful. A man will go where he feels valued. If he feels admired and respected by one woman and constantly belittled by another, his heart will naturally lean toward appreciation. Because appreciation feels like acceptance. It feels like partnership. It feels like support. When a woman expresses gratitude for his presence, not just his provision, he feels seen for who he is, not just what he gives. That distinction matters deeply. Tell him you admire his discipline. Tell him you respect his dedication. Tell him you notice the sacrifices he makes. Those words build emotional safety. And when a man feels emotionally safe, he allows himself to love without holding back. He stops protecting his ego as much. He stops guarding his weaknesses as tightly. He begins to invest more deeply because he feels secure. Appreciation is not flattery. It is sincere acknowledgement. And sincerity is what makes it powerful. When a man feels appreciated consistently, not only when he does something big, but also in everyday moments, he connects more strongly. He wants to keep showing up. He wants to keep giving. He wants to keep loving. Because now his efforts have meaning, now his presence has value, now his heart feels welcomed. And when